on day 77 of the chronological Bible in a year. Take a breath and take a moment to celebrate that you have set this time aside to hear God's word. Let's begin in Deuteronomy chapter 21 at verse 10. When you go out to battle against your enemies, the Lord your God hands them over to you, and you take them away captive. And you see among the captives a beautiful woman, and are strongly attracted to her, and would take her as a wife for yourself. Then you bring her into your home, and she shall shave her head and trim her nails. She shall also remove the clothes of her captivity, and shall remain in your house, and weep for her father and mother a full month. And after that you may have relations with her, and become her husband, and she shall be your wife. But if not, if you are not pleased with her, then you shall let her go wherever she wishes. And you certainly shall not sell her for money. You shall not treat her as merchandise, since you have humiliated her. If a man has two wives, the one loved and the other unloved, and both the loved and the unloved have borne him sons, and the firstborn son belongs to the unloved, then it shall be on the day that he wills what he owns as an inheritance to his sons, he is not allowed to treat the son of the loved wife as the firstborn, at the expense of the son of the unloved, who actually is the firstborn son. On the contrary, he shall acknowledge the firstborn, the son of the unloved wife, by giving him a double portion of everything that he owns. For he was the beginning of his strength. To him belongs the right of the firstborn. If any person has a stubborn and rebellious son who does not obey his father or his mother, and when they discipline him, he does not listen to them, then his father and mother shall seize him and bring him out to the elders of his city at the gateway of his hometown. And they shall say to the elders of his city, "This son of ours is stubborn and rebellious. He does not obey us. He is thoughtless and given to drinking." Then all the men of his city shall stone him to death. And so you shall eliminate the evil from your midst, and all Israel shall hear about it and fear. Now, if a person has committed a sin carrying a sentence of death, and he is put to death, and you hang him on a tree, his body is not to be left overnight on the tree, but you shall certainly bury him on the same day, for he who is hanged is cursed of God, so that you do not defile your land which the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance. You shall not see your countryman's ox or his sheep straying away and avoid them. You shall certainly bring them back to your countrymen. And if your countryman is not near you, or if you do not know him, then you shall bring it to your house, and it shall remain with you until your countryman looks for it. Then you shall restore it to him. You shall also do this with his donkey, and you shall do the same with his garment. And you shall do likewise with any lost property of your countryman, which has been lost by him, and you have found. You are not allowed to avoid them. You shall not see your countryman's donkey or his axe fallen down on the road and avoid them. You shall certainly help him raise them up. A woman shall not wear a man's clothing, nor shall a man put on a woman's clothing. For whoever does these things is an abomination to the Lord your God. If you happen to come upon a bird's nest along the way, in any tree or on the ground, with young ones or eggs in it, and the mother sitting on the young or on the eggs, you shall not take the mother with the young. You shall certainly let the mother go, but the young you may take for yourself, in order that it may go well for you, and that you may prolong your days. When you build a new house, you shall make a parapet for your roof. so that you will not bring guilt for bloodshed on your house if anyone falls from it. You shall not sow your vineyard with two kinds of seed, otherwise all the produce of the seed which you have sown and the yield of the vineyard will be forfeited to the sanctuary. You shall not plow with an ox and a donkey together. You shall not wear a material of wool and linen combined together. You shall make yourselves tassels on the four corners of your garments with which to cover yourself. If a man takes a wife and goes into her and then turns against her, and he charges her with shameful behavior and publicly defames her and says, I took this woman, but when I came near her, I did not find her to have evidence of virginity. Then the girl's father and her mother shall take and bring out the evidence of the girl's virginity to the elders of the city at the gate. And the girl's father shall say to the elders, I gave my daughter to this man as a wife, but he turned against her. And behold, he has charged her with shameful behavior, saying, I did not find your daughter to have evidence of virginity. But this is the evidence of my daughter's virginity. And they shall spread out the garment before the elders of the city. Then the elders of that city shall take the man and rebuke him, and they shall fine him 100 shekels of silver, and give it to the girl's father, because he publicly defamed a virgin of Israel. And she shall remain his wife. He is not allowed to divorce her all his days. But if this charge is true, and they did not find the girl to have evidence of virginity, then they shall bring the girl out to the doorway of her father's house, and the men of her city shall stone her to death, because she has committed a disgraceful sin in Israel by playing the prostitute in her father's house. So you shall eliminate evil from among you. If a man is found sleeping with a married woman, then both of them shall die, the man who slept with the woman and the woman. So you shall eliminate the evil from Israel. If there is a girl who is a virgin betrothed to a man, and another man finds her in the city and sleeps with her, then you shall bring them both out to the gate of that city, and you shall stone them to death. The girl, because she did not cry out for help, though she was in the city, and the man, because he has violated his neighbor's wife. So you shall eliminate the evil from among you. But if the man finds the girl who is betrothed in the field, and the man seizes her and rapes her, then only the man who raped her shall die. And you are not to do anything to the girl. There is no sin in the girl worthy of death. For just as a man rises against his neighbor and murders him, so this is the case. When he found her in the field, the betrothed girl cried out, but there was no one to save her. If a man finds a girl who is a virgin, who is not betrothed, and he seizes her and has sexual relations with her, and they are discovered, then the man who had sexual relations with her shall give the girl's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall become his wife, because he has violated her. He is not allowed to divorce her all his days. A man shall not take his father's wife in marriage, so that he does not uncover his father's garment. No one who is emasculated or has his male organ cut off may enter the assembly of the Lord. No one of illegitimate birth may enter the assembly of the Lord. None of his descendants, even to the 10th generation, may enter the assembly of the Lord. No Ammonite or Moabite may enter the assembly of the Lord. None of their descendants, even to the 10th generation, may enter the assembly of the Lord, because they did not meet with you food and water on the way when you came out of Egypt, and because they hired against you Balaam the son of Beor from Pethor of Mesopotamia to curse you. Nevertheless, the Lord your God was unwilling to listen to Balaam, but the Lord your God turned the curse into a blessing for you, because the Lord your God loves you. You shall never seek their peace or their prosperity all your days. You shall not loathe an Edomite, for he is your brother. You shall not loathe an Egyptian, because you were a stranger in his land. The sons of the third generation who are born to them may enter the assembly of the Lord. When you go out as an army against your enemies, you shall be on guard against every evil thing. If there is among you any man who is unclean because of a nocturnal emission, then he must go outside the camp. He may not re-enter the camp. But when evening approaches, he shall bathe himself with water, and at sundown he may re-enter the camp. You shall also have a place allocated outside the camp, so that you may go out there to relieve yourself. And you shall have a spade among your tools, and it shall be, when you sit down outside, you shall dig with it, and shall turn and cover up your excrement. Since the Lord your God walks in the midst of your camp to save you and to defeat your enemies before you, your camp must be holy. So he must not see anything indecent among you, or he will turn away from you. You shall not hand over to his master a slave who has escaped from his master to you. He shall live with you in your midst, in the place that he chooses, in one of your towns where it pleases him. You shall not mistreat him. None of the daughters of Israel shall be a cult prostitute, nor shall any of the sons of Israel be a cult prostitute. You shall not bring the earnings of a prostitute or the money for a dog into the house of the Lord your God as payment for any vowed offering, because both of these are an abomination to the Lord your God. You shall not charge interest to your countrymen, interest on money, food, or anything that may be loaned on interest. You may charge interest to a foreigner, but to your countrymen you shall not charge interest, so that the Lord your God may bless you in all that you undertake in the land which you are about to enter to possess. When you make a vow to the Lord your God, you shall not delay to pay it, for the Lord your God will certainly require it of you, and it will be a sin for you. However, if you refrain from making vows, it will not be a sin for you. You shall be careful and perform what goes out of your lips, since in fact you have vowed a voluntary offering to the Lord your God, whatever you have promised. When you enter your neighbor's vineyard, you may eat grapes until you are satisfied, but you are not to put any in your basket. When you enter your neighbor's standing grain, you may pluck the heads of grain with your hand, but you are not to use a sickle on your neighbor's standing grain. When a man takes a wife and marries her, and it happens, if she finds no favor in his eyes because he has found some indecency in her, that he writes her a certificate of divorce, puts it in her hand, and sends her away from his house, and she leaves his house and goes and becomes another man's wife, and the latter husband turns against her, writes her a certificate of divorce, and puts it in her hand, and sends her away from his house, or if the latter husband who took her to be his wife dies, then the former husband who sent her away is not allowed to take her again to be his wife after she has been defiled, for that is an abomination before the Lord. And you shall not bring sin on the land which the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance. When a man takes a new wife, he is not to go out with the army, nor be assigned any duty. He shall be free at home for 1 year, and shall make his wife, whom he has taken, happy. No one shall seize a handmill or an upper millstone as a pledge for a loan, since he would be seizing the debtor's means of life as a pledge. If someone is caught kidnapping any of his countrymen of the sons of Israel, and he treats him as merchandise and sells him, then that thief shall die, so you shall eliminate the evil from among you. Be careful about an infestation of leprosy, that you are very attentive and act in accordance with everything that the Levitical priests teach you, just as I have commanded them. You shall be careful to act. Remember what the Lord your God did to Miriam on the way as you came out of Egypt. When you make your neighbor a loan of any kind, you shall not enter his house to take his pledge. You shall stand outside, and the person to whom you are making the loan shall bring the pledge outside to you. If he is a poor man, you shall not sleep with his pledge. When the sun goes down, you shall certainly return the pledge to him, so that he may sleep in his cloak and bless you. And it will be righteousness for you before the Lord your God. You shall not exploit a hired worker who is poor and needy, whether he is one of your countrymen or one of your strangers who are in your land in your towns. You shall give him his wages on his day before the sun sets, for he is poor and sets his heart on it, so that he does not cry out against you to the Lord, and it becomes a sin in you. Fathers shall not be put to death for their sons, nor shall sons be put to death for their fathers. Everyone shall be put to death for his own sin alone. You shall not pervert the justice due a stranger or an orphan, nor seize a widow's garment as a pledge. But you are to remember that you were a slave in Egypt, and that the Lord your God redeemed you from there. Therefore I am commanding you to do this thing. When you reap your harvest in your field and forget a sheaf in the field, you are not to go back to get it. It shall belong to the stranger, the orphan, and to the widow, in order that the Lord your God may bless you in all the work of your hands. When you beat the olives off your olive tree, you are not to search through the branches again. That should be left for the stranger, the orphan, and the widow. When you gather the grapes of your vineyard, you are not to go over it again. That shall be left for the stranger, the orphan, and the widow. And you shall remember that you were a slave in the land of Egypt. Therefore, I am commanding you to do this thing. If there is a dispute between people, and they go to court, and the judge decide their case, and they declare the righteous innocent, and pronounce the wicked guilty, then it shall be, if the wicked person deserves to be beaten, the judge shall then make him lie down and have him beaten in his presence with the number of lashes according to his wrongful act. He may have him beaten 40 times, but not more, so that he does not have him beaten with many more lashes than these, and that your brother does not become contemptible in your eyes. You shall not muzzle the ox while it is threshing. When brothers live together, and one of them dies and has no son, the wife of the deceased shall not be married outside the family to a strange man. Her husband's brother shall have relations with her, and take her to himself as his wife, and perform the duty of a husband's brother to her. It shall then be that the firstborn to whom she gives birth shall assume the name of his father's deceased brother, so that his name will not be wiped out from Israel. But if the man does not desire to take his brother's widow, then his brother's widow shall go up to the gate to the elders and say, My husband's brother refuses to establish a name for his brother in Israel. He is not willing to perform the duty of a husband's brother to me. Then all the elders of his city shall summon him and speak to him. And if he persists and says, I do not desire to take her, then his brother's widow shall come up to him in the sight of the elders, and pull his sandal off his foot, and spit in his face, and she shall declare, This is what is done to the man who does not build up his brother's house. And in Israel his family shall be called by name, the house of him whose sandal was removed. If two men, a man and his countryman, have a fight with each other, and the wife of one comes up to save her husband from the hand of the one who is hitting him, and she reaches out with her hand and grasps that man's genitals, then you shall cut off her hand. You shall not show pity. You shall not have in your bag differing weights, a large and a small. You shall not have in your house differing measures, a large and a small. You shall have a correct and honest weight. You shall have a correct and honest measure, so that your days may be prolonged in the land which the Lord your God is giving you. For everyone who does these things, everyone who acts unjustly, is an abomination to the Lord your God. Remember what Amalek did to you on the way when you came out of Egypt, how he confronted you on the way and attacked you among all the stragglers at your rear when you were tired and weary. But he did not fear God. So it shall come about, when the Lord your God has given you rest from all your surrounding enemies in the land which the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance to possess, that you shall wipe out the mention of the name Amalek from under heaven. You must not forget. Thank you for listening. I pray that the seed of God's word will be planted in your heart and will continue to grow.